It's August 2013. Mary Smothers, who is an elderly woman living in the very small town of Slaughter, Louisiana, is watching TV in her living room. It was an ordinary afternoon in the mobile park she lived at. Quiet, not much going on. Until...
Investigators say that an 8-year-old intentionally shot his 90-year-old grandmother in the head last night.
Well, tonight, a family is mourning the loss of a 16-year-old who was shot and killed, apparently in a fight over a video game.
He wore the same blank expression, whether he won or whether he lost.
Mother is facing charges accused of shooting and injuring her son, and police say they think it started over a video game.
Man playing video games with his son is shot in a drive-by shooting.
The police arrived to the residence to see Smothers with a bullet hole in the back of her head, and her shaken up 8-year-old grandson was present inside the trailer. The boy then confessed to the officers that he accidentally shot his grandmother. The .38 caliber handgun that belonged to Smothers was the gun used, but how did it end up in this 8-year-old's hand? That was the first thought of all these officers involved. It was told that Miss Smothers had a loving relationship with her grandson, but the sheriff, after investigation, made a statement saying the following. Investigators have learned that the juvenile suspect was playing a video game, Grand Theft Auto 4, a realistic game that has been associated with encouraging violence and awards points to players for killing people. Attached with this statement, the police believe that the boy intentionally chose to shoot her. Now, of course, the boy was 8 years old, and regardless of intent or not, shouldn't have been seeing any of the explicit content inside the world of GTA, let alone had access to a gun. Under Louisiana law, any child younger than 10 is exempt from criminal responsibility. The imagination can be a powerful thing for kids, and playing something like Grand Theft Auto, seeing like it's normal without any context or even a talk about why this is wrong, will probably just look regular to an 8-year-old boy. It's a game after all, but not every kid knows this. One thing that's for sure is Mary Smothers shouldn't have lost her life that night.
Where did he see the gun? Like, where did she have the gun? Where was it placed? Like, was it in his eyesight? Or this was kind of the thoughts that goes through my head.
In the mid to late 90s, gaming was booming in Japan. From the most glorious arcades to some of the wildest ads you'd see on TV. There was an overwhelming amount of content to consume if you were growing up as a gamer over on the eastern front of the world. Left and right, you were being tossed a new game, a new console, or even a new Easter egg discovered by a friend long before there was the internet spoiling everything. But during crunch, it might not be a more negatively overwhelming time than to be a game developer. John Chapaniak is an author, journalist, and downright video game enthusiast that became infatuated with all the secrets that happened behind the scenes when making a game. John wanted to highlight the more uncharted stories that were never in the media, prompting him to make his book series entitled The Untold History of Japanese Game Developers. This 3-book trilogy is flooded with interviews that include some of the biggest names in gaming history today. Hundreds and hundreds of uncounted backstories, documents, talks on hardware exclusively sold in Japan. This is a true peek behind the curtain. But there is one interview that I still can't seem to stop thinking about. John had sat down with a man named Hideo Nanashi to discuss various business and other stories within the gaming world. However, sometime during this interview, it took a very dark turn. My younger sister was kidnapped. Hired some gangsters to do it. They did it to make me stop cooperating with Nintendo. In Japan, you have these evil companies that always crop up, and unlike the West, in Japan, there's a perception that play is bad, the opposite of hard work. So amusement-oriented industries inevitably become infested with evil companies and ties to the underworld. Take arcades for example. In legal terms, they're covered under laws regarding the entertainment and amusement trades, so they're managed under the same laws that regulate the adult or pink industry. Because of that, the underworld gets involved. The only companies that have been able to do business while staying clean are probably Nintendo and Namco. It was one of their game machines. I dropped it in front of their offices, smashed it, and I told them that one of their employees would be next, to show them that I was serious. That way, they would feel ashamed for their actions, you know? It was easy for me to get an arcade cabinet cheaply, so I bought one from a distributor. I thought about robbing the arcade too, but that's much more difficult, and that would make me a criminal. With what I ended up doing, I could have been charged with something like unlawful dumping of garbage, but that's a minor offense. Whereas if I had robbed the arcade, I would have been arrested. So I was well versed in using the underworld to get what they want. So if you're going up against them, you have to be smart. They're a big company, so if you try to fight them with ordinary methods, they'll work with the police and get the legal system to come after you. They might even pay off a politician, like a member of the National Diet. Who knows what they're capable of? I just smashed it in front of their main office in the middle of the night. It was easy. The headquarters are in now, but then they were near the airport. Their office building was right in front of the major street in a commercial district without any residential homes. I didn't dump it myself. I had someone else do it because I don't have a driver's license. I had him just drop the machine and dump it. So I don't know how damaged it was, but I assumed it was smashed apart. But then I sent a letter. There is a lot to unpack here. This interview must have been heavy, emotional. Here is a game dev showing complete vulnerability, and in the middle of the interview drops a bombshell. One of these big companies are allegedly holding a dark secret on what happened to his sister. It's known that the Yakuza in the 90s pretty much had their hand in all things entertainment, like Nanashi quoted above. They were a powerful group with money. They had shares inside of wrestling promotions, theaters, arcades, you name it. Most of all, they were dangerous, known for some of the most heinous crimes on the planet. If people had a problem going on within the industry that these gangs had a share in, turning to the Yakuza to shake some fear into whoever needed it didn't seem like it was far-fetched. But the story doesn't exactly end there. What if I told you Hideo Nanashi wasn't even real? Now, you may have seen that when he was naming the company that had a part in the alleged kidnapping of his sister, you might have noticed that it has been redacted. Out of respect for the developer John was interviewing that day, he chose to keep him and the company he was throwing allegations at anonymous. Sadly, there is no good ending to this story. This case essentially went cold and has no answers to this day. Like, what happened to his sister exactly, and who was actually involved?
This house here on Lincoln Street, all quiet now, but it was the scene of quite a bit of activity over the weekend, with police executing a search warrant here at the request of their counterparts over in England, who are now investigating an attempted murder case.
There are some people on Earth that can't find any luck with love. Some that get so obsessed with a person online, they go to measures that are so disturbing. Shane Coffey, otherwise known as Coffee522, was a small unknown YouTuber living in Weymouth, Massachusetts. With videos that date back as early as July 2007, having nearly 200 videos that range from Call of Duty, Halo, and a community that he was quite big in, RuneScape. Shane started meeting friends within the community and soon met Farah, getting closer to her through gaming, eventually moving to Skype and WhatsApp, leading to pure addiction. Over the 6 years of knowing Farah, who lived in Surrey, England, he began to get concerning. These two, who became flirty online friends, never really made it official to be in any sort of online long-distance relationship, which most likely triggered Shane. One day, he planted a Trojan onto her computer. For those who don't know, a Trojan is basically a file inside of an app or maybe even a folder that is used to get any and all information you have on your PC. Some use it to take passwords or even credit card info. But in Shane's case, he only had one purpose: to see who else she was communicating with. After finding messages, he confronted her with everything he found, demanding the things he had bought for her back. Farah, who found out about the Trojan, was obviously upset, ending the conversation stating that she never wanted to hear from him again and eventually blocks him on all social media. Shane was so engrossed with this girl that he had to get some revenge. Just a bit ago, I had said that he demanded for his things back. Prior to their argument, he had bought her an Xbox for Christmas now that he was in his late teens and working. Since he had already been able to send over a gift, that means he knew her exact address. Shane formulated a plan to leave his place of Weymouth, Massachusetts, fly all the way over to Surrey, England, book a hotel, and stalk Farah out. He did all this while smuggling this exact knife through not only the United States security, but the UK's as well. On April 17th, 2014, Shane made his way to his hotel room, where he stayed until about 3 a.m. He left the hotel and hid in the garden outside of Farah's residence for about 1 hour. He then musters up the courage to use a brick nearby to smash her window, jumping inside before confronting her, showing his knife in his hand. He jumps onto her where she was in bed sleeping and begins to slash at her. Her brother Muhammad, that was in the room next to hers, heard his sister screaming and immediately ran in to save her. Muhammad began wrestling with Shane before grabbing a metal pole, striking Shane 3 times until Shane eventually gives up. Muhammad had just saved his sister's life, and when the police were interrogating Shane, he informed them that the voices made him do it, which we know is a lie now. He had a clear, methodical plan, along with the account that his parents said he was a normal kid who liked video games, dancing, and working. But soon, they would have to face the dark reality that their son was truly a maniacal person. Shane Coffey now spends a lifetime in jail for his actions. For what once was maybe a promising future on this platform for Shane, quickly became a fossil in the dark corners we have right inside this vast internet.
I was looking out my window and I just thought to myself, I have never seen anybody at that house.
A Weymouth police report indicates Coffey met the woman while playing video games online. Although the online relationship apparently ended by December 2013, Coffey bought airfare in February from Boston to London. It's baffling to those who live in his Weymouth neighborhood who woke last Saturday to law enforcement.
Chicago Pizza and Sports Grill will reopen on Friday. According to the Florida Times Union, the GLHF game bar inside the restaurant remains closed. It will still need approval from city regulators before.
Madden has some of the most competitive fans in gaming, and in the late 2010s, the esports scene for Madden was huge, having $1 million in cash prizes for EA's 2017 Madden Bowl. And in 2018, this was no different. Let's fly into the end of the summer. It's August 26th, 2018, and the second day of the Madden 19 Classic tournament was just like any other. The players wake up in their hotel rooms, got on their fits, and headed over to the Chicago Pizza where the tournament was being hosted. Players, fans, friends, and event workers enter into the building as the first string of brackets make their way to the monitors to set up. The event goes on like normal, and as Elijah, Trueboy Clayton, and Joe Rice are playing through their game, going back and forth with some friendly banter, something weird occurs. A red dot laser beam starts to hover over the chest of Trueboy's jacket, and what happens next was completely unexpected. What you are about to see was from the live stream of the tournament that was happening on Twitch. Viewer discretion is advised.
Joe Rice down 7-0 after the first drive by Trueboy. Got a lot of good games going on. It's today.
It's gonna be hard to get them on stream.
It's
not
a
lot.
It's not a tough out today. Excuse me, not an easy out. Oh.
As these two were discussing, a player by the name of Bread, or by his real name David Katz, was waving his 9mm at the chest of Trueboy without anyone realizing until shots rang off. You can hear the screams and cries of panicked people inside of the event as this man begins to shed terror. This man, whose father says carries a blank expression, was a 24-year-old who made a name for himself in the world of Madden esports, but was very different from other players. He was quiet according to the community that knew him, always looks like he's in a fog. Prior to this 2-day event, Katz packed his bags very lightly, but also packed with him a small stash of weapons, all handguns. For whatever reason, Katz became increasingly jealous of a lot of the players. Katz was considered a top player in the community, but in his mind, always felt beneath his peers, and that jealousy turned into gruesome envy. During the first day, players in the building said that Katz carried a cold stare when he lost, almost as if he was just emotionless. Katz also maybe had something sinister for a player named Shay Young Kivlin, a 21-year-old that had went back to his hotel room to take a nap right before the massacre that occurs moments later. Katz approached one of the EA reps asking for Kiv, but no one knew why. But in retrospect, this was a chilling detail. Who knows what he had planned? As Katz was firing shots, he was heard to be counting. The theory is, he was counting to make sure that he had one final bullet for himself. He was completely taken over with rage, firing and firing, killing 2 more and injuring others as people scrambled to leave the scene. I couldn't even imagine what I'd do in the situation, and it's a shame people had to lose their lives just doing what they loved, having a good time. All I can hope that everyone is now at peace. David Katz had taken the lives of 3 people that night before ultimately killing himself. This is a story of an envious competitive gamer with skeletons in the closet that were waiting to be let out. And sadly, this won't be the last incident we see while people are simply trying to game, but somehow end up in some of the darkest moments of video game history.